Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you've ever found yourself staring at a screen with, 15 browser tabs open, desperately trying to piece together a complex international trip without completely draining your bank account, well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're literally cracking the code on booking multi-city flights, transforming it from a confusing mess into your ultimate money-saving travel tool.
So, here's what we're looking at today. We'll cover the multi-city difference, when it actually saves you money, a step-by-step booking guide, alliances and baggage rules, visas and vital details, and finally, the big mistakes to avoid. Let's jump in.
All right, Section 1, the multi-city difference, defining the dream trip.
Have you ever dreamed of hopping continents, maybe doing a grand circuit from Dublin to Dubai, then on to Bangkok and winding down in Singapore? But then you got completely overwhelmed by the prospect of booking all those separate flights? Yeah, you're absolutely not alone. The default for most of us is either a simple round trip or a chaotic, really expensive mess of one-way tickets. But there's a much, much smarter way to do this.
Okay, let's get our terms straight. Here's the crucial definition. A multi-city itinerary isn't just a series of random flights cobbled together. It is a single, unified flight booking connecting 3 or more destinations in sequence. Every single leg lives under one booking reference. You're not just doing an express transit here. You're building a structured trip where you actively pick the confirmed dates and times. And the kicker? You aren't constantly returning to your starting point. You are moving progressively forward.
Now, this comparison really highlights the difference between 3 structures people mix up all the time. A simple round trip? That's straightforward. Just A to B and B back to A. But look closely at the open jaw option. It's just 2 flight segments, but there's an implied surface journey right in the middle. So think of flying into Paris, taking a train to Rome on your own dime, and then flying home from Rome. Multi-city, on the other hand, means 3 or more segments where every single move between cities is a confirmed flight on your unified ticket. No implied trains, no separate ferries, just a seamless air circuit.
Moving on to Section 2, when it saves money. Let's talk about the financial logic.
Why do we care? Because buying individual one-way tickets will almost always cost you a fortune compared to a full multi-city circuit. One-way international fares carry a massive premium. Sometimes 40 to 70% more. Why? Because airlines price them for last-minute corporate travelers. So your secret weapon here is the cost test. Before you click Buy, open 3 tabs in Google Flights. Tab 1, build your complete multi-city circuit. Tab 2, price each leg as separate one-way tickets. Tab 3, price a simple round trip to your primary stop. If your route makes geographical sense, like continuously moving eastward, the multi-city ticket almost always wins hands down. Plus, you get that massive peace of mind, single ticket protection if a flight gets delayed.
All right, Section 3, Step-by-Step Booking Guide. Let's look at the execution.
Here's your clean, manageable blueprint to build this out without a headache. Step 1, start analog. Literally, plan your route on paper so it actually makes geographic sense. Next, fire up Google Flights. Honestly, it's the best free tool out there for this, letting you string together up to 5 legs. Switch that dropdown from round trip to multi-city. Enter your legs in chronological order, review the connections carefully, and cross-check those costs. And finally, and I really cannot stress this enough, try to book directly on the airline's website. If you are mixing airlines, use an airline platform that issues a consolidated itinerary so you don't lose those crucial delay protections. It's a real game changer.
Now, you might be wondering, how does this compare to an official Alliance Round the World, or RTW ticket? The differences are pretty striking. RTW tickets are fantastic if you're hitting, say, 6 or more destinations over several months, but they strictly force you to travel in one continuous direction using only their specific partner airlines. For a more typical trip, maybe 3 to 5 destinations over a couple of weeks, your DIY multi-city booking is infinitely more flexible. You can use any airline combo imaginable, and frankly, it's often way cheaper.
Next up, Section 4, Alliances and Baggage Rules. Let's deal with the logistical realities. Look, baggage is hands down the trickiest part of multi-city travel. First off, if you mix carriers that do not have a confirmed interline agreement, you essentially just bought separate tickets. That means you have to physically collect and recheck your bags at every single connection. What a nightmare. Then there's the devastating basic economy trap. Imagine arriving in Dubai, jet-lagged, only to realize your quote-unquote cheap leg excludes checked bags completely, and now you're slapped with a massive fee at the check-in desk. Always confirm interline agreements and rigorously check the individual baggage policies for every single leg. Mismatches will catch you off guard, and on a single ticket, the most restrictive baggage allowance usually applies to the whole thing.
And here is a crucial tip to just burn right into your memory. 12 plus. If you have an overnight stopover of 12 or more hours mid-circuit, you usually have to collect your bags. The airport isn't just going to hold them in the system overnight for you. So always pack a change of clothes in your carry-on and confirm the exact baggage plan with the check-in agent.
Which brings us to Section 5, Visas and Vital Details, the legal traps.
Okay, navigating visas is our next trial. Border rules apply everywhere you land, even if you're just transiting. Every sovereign country needs a check. Never assume anything. Like, sure, the Schengen visa covers 27 European nations perfectly, but remember, post-Brexit, the UK requires entirely separate border checks. And here is the most terrifying hidden detail: the UK DAVT transit trap. That's the direct airside transit visa. Certain nationalities need this visa even if their plane is literally just landing at Heathrow to refuel, and they never ever step foot outside the terminal. Catching that mistake at check-in, it's an unrecoverable disaster. You will simply be denied boarding. Always rigorously verify transit visa rules before you hit purchase.
Finally, Section 6, Mistakes to Avoid, your survival guide.
Remember this number right here, 90. 90 minutes is the absolute bare minimum international connection time you should ever accept. Search engines love to tempt you with these 45-minute layovers because they technically meet the airport's legal minimum. But honestly, that's a minimum under totally perfect conditions, not reality. At massive, complex hubs like Heathrow, Charles de Gaulle, or Narita, you really need to aim for at least 2 solid hours, just to save your own sanity.
So here's your rapid-fire checklist of pitfalls. We've talked about crazy short layovers and baggage traps. What else? Do not book separate tickets blindly. If Flight A is delayed and you miss Flight B on a separate ticket, the airline owes you nothing. That misconnection is entirely on you, financially. Also, multi-city trips have a ton of moving parts, right? So seriously consider paying a slight premium for flexible fares. And last but not least, do not overlook your local arrival times. Saving $50 is absolutely not worth it if you're landing in an unfamiliar city at midnight when everything's shut down and you have to shell out a fortune for a last-minute airport hotel.
So, let's wrap this up. By mastering the cost test, leveraging Google Flights, understanding interline agreements, and dodging those fatal connection and visa traps, you now have the exact blueprint to unlock the world for a fraction of the cost. With all these tools in your arsenal, you are no longer bound by simple A to B travel. You can build the itinerary of your dreams. The only question left to ask is, where are you going next? Is it going to be an East Asia Grand Tour or a multi-stop hop across the Gulf? Start plotting those points on a map, and I'll see you in the next explainer.